Somewhere in Kenya right now, an elephant is listening to two voices. One belongs to a Maasai man, the other belongs to a Kamba man. The elephant has never met either of them. It doesn't know their names, their tribes, or their intentions, and yet it already knows which one might kill it. Most people assume animals see humans the way we see each other, just a person. One category. Maybe scary, maybe not, depending on what we do in the moment. That's not quite right. Animals aren't just reacting to us. In many cases, they're building entire mental categories of who we are, by our voice, our smell, our clothes, even our faces. And some of them remember us for years. The scientific hunt for what animals think of humans really begins in 1935, in a small courtyard in Austria with a biologist named Konrad Lorenz. Lorenz raised greylag goslings from the moment they hatched and discovered something strange. The goslings didn't just tolerate him, they treated him as their mother. They followed him, called for him, ignored actual geese. He called it imprinting, and it was the first hard proof that an animal's picture of who humans are isn't fixed by instinct alone. It's built, which means across the animal kingdom, that picture can look wildly different depending on the species, and depending on us. Start with the animal that knows us best. In 2014, neuroscientist Attila Andics at Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest trained dogs to lie completely still inside an MRI scanner. No sedation, just patience, and scanned their brains while they listened to human voices. The result? Dogs process human speech using the same region of the brain, the temporal pole, that we use to process language. Their brains even react differently to a happy tone versus a sad one, almost identically to how a human brain does. To a dog, we're not just a source of food. Brain scan evidence suggests we're something closer to a second, permanently confusing species they've learned to emotionally read. Better, in some ways, than we read them. Here's the part nobody talks about. That closeness isn't universal. Step outside the house and the picture of human gets a lot more complicated. Back to that elephant in Kenya. In 2014, biologist Karen McComb at the University of Sussex played recorded human voices to elephant families in Amboseli National Park. Some speaking Maasai, some speaking Kamba. The Maasai, historically, sometimes speared elephants in conflicts over grazing land. The Kamba largely didn't. The elephants reacted to the Maasai voices, even calm, ordinary ones, by bunching defensively and smelling the air. The Kamba voices barely registered. They weren't just hearing human, they were hearing which kind of human, sorted by language, by ethnicity, by decades of accumulated risk passed down through the herd. So what actually happened next when scientists checked a species with almost no defense at all? In a 2021 study published in the journal Animals, researchers fitted free-roaming giraffes with GPS collars and tracked them in the presence and absence of human observers. The findings: giraffes walked 66.6% farther per hour when a human was nearby, and their stress hormone levels, measured through fecal samples, rose every time a person approached. The researchers calculated something remarkable. It took an average of 442 to 454 hours of calm, repeated human presence before a single giraffe would stop treating a person as an active threat. That's not a flinch. That's weeks of sustained vigilance. An animal running a background threat assessment on us almost the entire time we're in the room. And this is where it gets stranger. In the Sundarbans, the vast mangrove delta straddling India and Bangladesh, researchers led by Adam Barlow documented 1,396 human deaths from tiger attacks over 63 years, an average of roughly 22 people killed every year, largely honey collectors, fishermen, and woodcutters. What makes the Sundarbans tigers different is how they hunt us, almost always from behind, going for the neck. So in the late 1980s, the West Bengal government tried something strange, handing out masks with painted human faces to be worn on the back of the head. The logic: a tiger that thinks it's already been spotted won't attack. And it worked. For about 2 years, attacks dropped. Then the tigers adjusted. They started attacking anyway, mask or no mask. Whatever cue they'd been reading, they'd learned to see through it. To a Sundarbans tiger, humans aren't a mystery to be feared from a distance. We're a known prey animal, currently being tricked, and the trick has an expiration date. So that settles it, right? Once an animal identifies us as prey or as danger, that's just the verdict. Permanently? Not quite. In Scandinavia, researcher Andrés Ordiz and colleagues studied brown bears during hunting season and found something almost too clever. The the bears began shifting their entire daily rhythm, becoming far more nocturnal, specifically to avoid the hours when hunters are out. It sounds like a clean win for the bears, except the timing is brutal. Hunting season overlaps exactly with hyperphagia, the weeks bears need to gorge on food to survive hibernation. Avoiding us during daylight means less feeding time at the one moment they can least afford it. The bears aren't just afraid of us. They're running a constant, costly trade-off, safety versus survival, recalculated every single season, based entirely on how dangerous we've been recently. There's no fixed verdict on humans, just an ongoing one. Think about that the next time your dog perks up at your specific footsteps in the hallway, or a documentary shows a bear vanishing into the dark the moment hunting season begins. We built cities, put on uniforms, invented weapons that make us the most efficient predator most species will ever encounter. And somewhere in the middle of all that, dozens of other minds quietly did the same thing to us that we've always done to each other. They stopped seeing a human and started keeping score on you. We assume we're the ones doing the watching. We might just be the most studied animal on Earth and never even filed the report.